Good morning, creative people. Today I'm going to tell you a little story about this 51 inch by 10 yards sheet, single sheet of watercolor paper that I bought, and what I do with it, how I handle it and its curviness, and what I'm doing right now. I'm actually in preparation to enter into a season of caregiving, maybe 6 to 9 months of some serious caregiving. And this creative practice of mine is going to be my self-care regimen to get me through it. So I'm cutting some pieces so that I have some pieces that can be an easy invitation for me to get to my art desk and make something, anything. So first of all, 51 inches by 10 yards makes 18,360 square inches. And at the price I paid, which is around $220, that comes to about 1.2 cents per square inch. This is important because this is part of the reason why I purchased this paper in the first place. This is about the best price you're going to get for watercolor paper. This is Arches, 156 pound, so it's a little bit heavier than the 140 pound paper that you can usually buy at the art store in sheets or in blocks or even in pads. So what I'm doing here is I've protected my table with Alvin cutting mats. This is a carryover from my architecture days. I just had them already. They're actually wonderful mats. So if you are so inclined to spend the money, I highly recommend them because I've been using them for years and years. And then my weights that I'm using are little rice sacks that I actually use to keep my feet warm in the winter. I put them in the microwave for a minute and a half, and then I always have a heat sack in the winter. So these things are just around, and they are nice and gentle on the paper. So when I'm cutting it, just to kind of keep things flat so that I can get a nice straight line all the way down, I weight them with the rice sacks. And once I've cut a long strip of what I want, then I just go along and obviously it's much easier to cut the little bits. So what I'm cutting today is some 6 by 8 pieces. This is maybe somewhat arbitrary, but it's just big enough that I can get into something and paint something, but not so big that I feel intimidated. And like I said, I want a lot of easy invitations to myself for the next few months to get in there and to do something. It doesn't matter to me what I make in the next few months. It's just going to be that I get to my table and make something. So this is how I deal with the curve. So you may or may not know this, but watercolor paper, good watercolor paper, is made of cotton. So it's just the same as our clothing. Well, if we have cotton clothing, right? It's not a blend. So I fill up my iron reservoir with water, and then I also spray my paper. And I use clean hand towels to protect it, just like I would on a very kind of delicate fabric, maybe. And I give it a good press. And I pull that out and I put it under a stack of books for overnight. Pretty simple and kind of a nice little project if you can get into the monotony of working on that. So the next part of this video, I'm going to show you what I'm making with these 6x8 pieces of paper and how I'm thinking about my own personal sort of art therapy program. I mean, that's really what's going on. So, and given this is not my first time to do this, so I know that I need something that is going to be engaging enough to get me there, but doesn't require me to think too hard about what I'm going to do, what colors I'm going to use, and what my subject matter is going to be. So what I've decided is that I'm going to use two colors, the Inktense Iron Blue and the, not New Gamboge, but the Quin Gold. Quin Gold is a great color if you're going to have a limited palette because it really by itself runs the range between orange to pale yellow. And if you mix it with a blue like this Inktense Pencil Blue, of course you can get some really lovely muted greens. So those are my two colors. I got the size of the paper, and my subject matter is going to be the houses in my neighborhood. So given that my husband and I go for a walk every day, and we can vary our loop, but of course most of the time we go on the same loop, I just take my camera and take some recordings of some different compositions of the houses and the foliage and the street scenes. And of course this works very well with me with my architectural background, because drawing a house provides no stress, no strain. It's just a matter of looking at what's there, knowing, I already know what all of the pieces and parts are like and how it was put together and built. And then having this beautiful foliage. So like here's one picture that the one I'm working on. If I get the right angle, and I'll get better as I go along because I will notice what works well in the pictures that I'm taking. So that's it. I'm going to be working on these little pieces. And in the last part of this video, I'm going to show you the 4 that I've worked on so far and the inspiration from the houses in my neighborhood, little videos of that. Feel free to use the pictures that I've taken of the houses in my neighborhood. If you would like to sketch them, just pause the video and go from there. I don't mind. All right, so here are the 4 that I have at least started on. This is the first one in order of drawing, and there's the house on this quiet and quaint little street. Next we have this really beautiful, I would call it a bungalow, but it doesn't have the front porch that usually comes with a bungalow. It has some great little lights in the front yard, and I really like how I did the trees. Next we have another little cute craftsman style house with a swing that my boys used to swing on when they were little. And look at all the lovely details with the curves and the Dutch returns. And then the one that I started today, which I intentionally picked this image that has more foliage in the foreground. I think that that's a good move compositionally. And there we go. That's it. Thank you for watching. This is it for today. I will keep filming throughout my caregiving time, and I will be back in a week or 2. All right.